my brother home so that he could die in the presence of the people that had loved and nurtured him. And I'll never forget wheeling him out of his hospital port, put him in my car, and I drove over to the stadium where my teammates were. And they came and lifted this defensive line, probably about 110, 120 pounds, and they brought him into the locker room. I undressed him, we put him in one of the whirlpools, and then one at a time my teammates came up in a clandestine way and said goodbye. I took him home to my house in Baltimore and had his dog and his friends come down from Buffalo, and we celebrated this early Christmas only to watch him die the next morning. Took his body, flew it back up to Buffalo. My teammates and coaches came. My cousin played for the Bills, their organization came, and the turning point of my life. I'm standing in this cemetery in the middle of December. The snow's blowing. There are hundreds of people out here for this 18-year-old boy. I'm standing next to the casket, next to the open grave, and at the end of the ceremony, I hear the priest say the final amen. And with that, everybody turned and just started to walk away. And I remember wanting to scream. You mean this is it? You have some good times, some bad times, you die, and everybody gets on with the busyness of their own life? What's the meaning of life? Where does value and purpose come from? And I started this long inward journey, trying to find the answer to life's most profound question. And ultimately, my question became, what does it mean to be a man, to be a woman, to be a human being? My conclusion is this. It comes down to two criteria and two criteria alone. Now, I know this not only from my own personal journey, but I've been in pastoral ministry for over 25 years. Preached for decades in a multi-thousand church. And here's what I know to be true for me, and I know to be true for every single one of you. If you were on your deathbed today, about to die tomorrow, and you look back over your life, you'd recognize your definition. The first thing is this. The first criteria is it's all about relationship. On that deathbed, you will recognize that all of life is about relationship. It's the capacity to love and to be. What's it mean to be a man? It means you can look somebody in the eye and say, I love you, and receive that love back. You know what the questions you ask at the end of your life? They're not about awards or achievements or applause or the stuff you've accumulated. They're all questions of relationship. What kind of husband? What kind of father? What kind of son? What kind of coach? Who did I love and who did I allow to love me? It's all about relationship. Now you think about that socialization circle I put up there. I don't think there's a man in this room that was raised to be relationally successful. We were taught how to compare and compete, which almost always destroys the opportunity to enter into authentic community. It's all about relationships. And here's the second thing. And I think it's the only other thing. And again, if you're on your deathbed today, about to die tomorrow, may your success, what kind of man you were, it come down to this. At the end of your life, you want to be able to look back over and know that you made a difference. To understand you lived with some kind of cause. Some kind of cause that was bigger than who and what you were. I call it transcendent cause. Transcendent in the sense you get up every day with more concerns than just your own personal goals, wants, and wants. And here's the beauty of the calling that you have as a youth football coach. Every one of your players, they are your legacy. Or they're the difference that you're going to leave behind long after you're gone. And the question is whether you use that platform to help launch them to maximize their greatest human potential, the capacity to love and to make a difference, or whether somehow you marginalize or minimalize that child. It's all about relationships and commitment to a cause. So think about this. What is a team? How do you define a team? A team is nothing more than a set of relationships for a cause. Every great team, the performance always goes up when your players are relationally connected to each other. When players learn how to depend on and be dependable for, when they learn each other's stories, when they feel good about who they are, what they're doing, who they're doing it with, performance automatically goes up. So a team is a set of relationships for a cause. It has a common purpose, performance goals and objectives. There ought to be some mutually accountable work ethic, and it's always built on the trust, respect, and integrity, and dignity of all team members. So if being a man is about relationships and a cause, and a team is a set of relationships for cause, is there a better place to help boys become men? To learn how to build relationships, commit to a cause? So what's coaching then? How do you define what it means to be a coach? Coaches, I think your primary responsibility is to help build your players' capacity and competency to build and maintain relationships, to be honest and real, give them permission to bring all of themselves, all their feelings, all of their emotions, which are this core, the center of success in life. You advocate, you validate all of those emotions. What's a coach do? You teach your players how to commit to a cause, how to bring their mind, bodies, and spirits, bring that to the team so the team can accomplish what it otherwise couldn't have accomplished. So, well, let me just show you quickly. Here's my purpose, and I've got my 3 highest values as a coach. My highest value is empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand what my players are feeling and what causes those feelings. My second one is kindness. And a lot of people say to me, well, kindness and football don't go together. Boy, that's baloney. We have this idea that to be tough, aggressive, totally sold out to winning, and compassion, empathy, and kindness are mutually exclusive. I would say those things go hand in hand. So when I get up in front of my team, and we're not some namby-pamby high school team. We've been in the USA top 25 a couple times, #1 in the entire East Coast. Boy, we play to win. And but I tell my team this: our defense is built around penetrate, pursue, and punish. Blow up that line of scrimmage, 11 helmets run into that ball carrier, and you want to wear that kid out. But I tell my players before the game, if you ever find out in the game you got superior opponent, you made some kind of mistake, you got beaten, you get unsettled, if you ever need a hug, come on over to me and I'll give you a hug during the game. And I have all these high school people where they need to get centered and focused. I'll wrap my arms around them, I'll whisper in that ear hole about how much I believe in them, trust in them, my faith in them, and then I will release them. And you think about the power of a hug versus screaming, swearing, shouting, using some kind of sarcasm to motivate a player. So you've got to have your purpose, you've got to have your core values, and then you've got to have a definition of success. Your definition of success can only flow out of your purpose statement. I can't say my purpose is to help boys become men of empathy and integrity, be responsible, change the world for good, and then measure success based on a number of D1 players, championships, or my one loss record. So I measure and define success over a 20-year period. And when my players come back as men of empathy and integrity, devoted husbands, committed fathers, contributors to society, then I know I had a successful season. So when people come up and say, what kind of team are you going to have this year? I always tell them, I'll let you know in 20 years, because that's when the payoff is going to come. So I'm going to stop there, but these are some of our programmatic principles. And I'll just illustrate 2 and I'm going to stop. Number 1 is, to me, sports ought to be co-curricular, not extracurricular. Extracurricular implies that practice begins at the end of the educational day. I would say this: you have the last classroom of the day, or it ought to be done in the same way that your school educates. You need some kind of curriculum that you're going to develop, how you're going to help boys become men and fulfill whatever your purpose statement is. Character. You know, the great myth in America is that sports build character. Well, that's not true in a win-it-all culture. Sports does not build character unless some coach intentionally teaches it. Character comes from the Greek word. It means the mark, engraved, or the scratch. When that silversmith made that challenge, when they were done, they put some kind of character in it to know that it was made by them. You as coaches, you need to define what character traits every one of your players is going to acquire as they go through your program. You have to identify them as a coach, you have to define those character traits for your players, and then you have to integrate those into your practice. And every time you see that character trait displayed, you stop practice, because that's a moment of greatness. And you elevate and point that out. Then the last thing is you've got to have some kind of curriculum in the midst of that. So I'll close with that. Most of this is in the book. The first half of the book is how you move from being transactional second half is how you build a transformational program. How do you build a program that's built on moral courage and justice and reasoning and empathy in the midst of it all the way through? So I want to thank Jeff. You've been a wonderful audience. You do set the gold standard. When I go out around there, boy, I always report, think back and speak back to this league here. But it's the individual responsibility of each and every one. I would challenge you then, before practice begins, make sure you have one sentence purpose statement about a clear, compelling definition about the difference you're going to make in the lives of your players. It has nothing to do with X's and O's of the game of football. Boy, you've got this unparalleled platform, power, position, use it. Why? Because it will not only benefit your life, boy, it will help change America. When you release, you have something like 10,000 players in this league. You think about 10,000 boys that have an understanding that masculinity is about the capacity to love and to be loved and to make a difference in the world. And then you release them back into this community. Can you imagine the social change, the formation of family, the parenting that's going to take place, the social justice, the issues that will help move America and Chicago into a more fair and just place. So thank you very much. Seize the moment, though, this year.
Joe, thank you very much for the best. Awesome.